What's up, everybody? Good morning. Anybody there? Is anybody out there? Not if you can hear me. Ching, ching, ching. Yeah, it's a little bit chilly. Is the live chat there? Let me get the fucking chat. All messages, please. I wanna write in the chat. Where is it? Why can't I pull the chat up on my phone? What the hell? For some reason, I don't know why I can't pull up the chat. Live chat on. Me to see it? Maybe. Somebody do me a favor and type in the chat room if they can. If you're watching this. So I could see if I could pull it up. Oh, there you go. Thank you. So why can't I write in it? I don't know why I can't write. Yeah, I can see the chat. For some reason, I can't write in it. I don't know why I can't, like, write in it right now, but... What's up, everybody? Can you see me now? It's a little cold out here. I'm a little bundled up, but it's alright. My name is Castaldo. It is about 5-something a.m. Can I speak Indonesian? No, that's not under my skill set. But I do have a wide variety of skill set. And I have spent a lot of time with Thai people, which is not too far off from Indonesia. You have a question? All right. Zubair John. Are you subscribed to my channel? Because, hey, I don't have a super chat right now because I'm temporarily demonetized. But, I mean, shit, at least subscribe to my channel. If you're going to start asking me questions, I got to answer. If I was born deaf, what language am I thinking? Well, I would say the sign language. You're not thinking in words, you're reading lips of whoever culture that you grow up in. So that's the language that you're thinking of, because as a child, you start thinking in the language that you're influenced by. So it wouldn't matter if you're deaf or not. You're going to be influenced by the same language that you're embedded in. I don't need your riddles. Why don't you ask yourself riddles? about to fucking mute you, bro. Now you're just a troll. I knew you were a troll right off the jump, right from the first question, but I'd figure I'd play along a little while. No, it makes you an idiot if you sweat in the sweater. It just means you're sweating. I'm chill. I'm pretty chill, bro. I'm just saying I'm about to block you. I'm about to mute you because like I don't want the whole stream to be about your riddles. But it's slightly amusing. I'm totally chill, bro. When did I not be chill? You're the one that seems not chill. It's all good though. How many people we got watching? It says 2 right now. See, look, you chased everybody out of here. It was like 13 people. I'm blaming it on you, Jan. Zubair Jan. Zubair. Is it Zubair? Zubair. He didn't offend me. I'm just saying he starts asking all these riddles that are pointless riddles to make the chat room be about him. So I wasn't trying to just answer riddles the whole time. If it was a real question, I wasn't offended. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I could go rewind the tape and read it back and look at it back and pretty much show you I wasn't offended. Nor was I upset. I just, you guys, man, you guys are the perfect example of if anybody faces a little adversity, they think they're under attack. What, I'm not allowed to voice my opinion? I'm not allowed to state how my true feeling was at the moment? Automatically, you think it's a challenge or an attack against you personally? That's so typical of everybody nowadays. I'm not getting mad or anything. I'm saying I stated my opinion, and you automatically perceived it as an attack or me getting mad. But you're totally reading it wrong. I'm not dude. And even if I mute you, I'm not mad at you. I just don't want this chat room to be about you and about pointless things. So I appreciate your input, brother. But I really don't have the time for this, nor am I mad at either one of you guys. Are you serious? Wow. But you guys are, I was about to talk about how like we are divinely inspired at night, and now I'm answering like riddles. It's fucking funny shit. Yeah, I was pissed off. You're right. You really rattled me. You really got me upset. No, I just realized I was being trolled. It's all good, bro. But like I was saying, how do I can't even type in the chat room. For some reason it won't let me chat. It won't let me type. I can't find the way to type on it on my phone. Like my keyboard. YOLO, what's up, YOLO? My keyboard won't pull up. Pull up. Pull up, brother, pull up. God is in everything. I got Gary Wayne coming back on today at 1 p.m. Eastern. He's been on 3 Saturdays in a row now. 3 Saturdays in a row. We got the Gary, the man, the Gary Wayne, the one and only. So it's interesting, even in Jewish mysticism, I was reading something that really gave me goosebumps because I've been doing this on my own for many years. So like For many years, a lot of times, like, because I wake up really early in the morning, and sometimes I'll go to sleep really early, like at night, like after dinner sometimes. And a lot of times I'll find myself waking up around midnight, and I between working both at noon and at midnight, I think the sun is bringing us, and the stars in general are bringing us streams of knowledge that never stops, right? But then at certain key points throughout the day and night, it is at its peak. And I do think at midnight, around midnight, is when it starts to peak at its highest during the darkness. And on 12 noon, it's peaking at its highest during the daytime. So we are receiving streams of divine knowledge, and it does happen in the darkness as well. People want to think that at nighttime that you're not communicating with the sun or communicating with God, if you want to say. But loads, I mean, intense amounts of information are being pulled into the planet during the nighttime on the night side, right? And this happens within the magnetosphere, within the magnetotail of our magnetosphere. We pull in all these charged particles directly from the sun, and they go through like a period of chaos where they're then squeezed and released into the planet in certain areas, specifically areas where there's breakthroughs in the stratosphere at the poles and various other places on the planet. And we have right now a massive, and people are talking about it in the last few days in the media for some reason, but that's because there's something headed our way. But in early December of 2023, we had a massive hole open up on the sun that is sending us streams of direct life and intelligence, all sorts of things that are coming directly from the sun, through a gateway on the sun. And this hole is 60 times wider than Earth, and it's sending all sorts of uh, information directly from the sun and intelligence directly from the sun. And I do think that possibly on March 21st of 2025, right, not too far away, we're going to have a worldwide aurora type event that is going to be like a global DMT for some people. For others, it could be uh, very harmful, possible annihilation. Who knows? But there's some people that aren't going to be able to take the frequency, the sound of the light, the horn of God, the shofar. It could be just business as usual on that day. But I do think there's a solar storm headed our way that could be looked at as a celestial rings of angels that are coming. Right? When auroras appear, they appear as rings around the poles. They're literally shimmering sheets of light. They come in all different colors. And it's information that's coming directly from the sun. It's not just a beautiful color display. It's the Maruts of Vedic. It's the celestial hierarchy of angelic beings that are coming on this planet, that have been always coming on this planet. That's why you have so many rituals in the past that have to do with solar rituals, where people dance in these rings, and these have to do with the rings of light. Gary will be back on today 1 p.m. So many different people have been channeling information throughout the ages that have been in communication with light, pillars of light. Most of them go pretty much unnoticed by people nowadays. They don't even talk about them anymore. But there was an incredible book written in the 1880s that I've talked about before called OASP by a guy named John McBrow. He was a dentist living in New York City at the time. This was, like I said, in the 1880s, the early 1880s. And he all of a sudden was in his room, and at the time had not even owned a typewriter yet. They did exist, of course, I think at the time, because he ended up going and getting one. But he didn't own one at the time. And he had basically like a pillar of light come into his room and start dictating to him a massive book over, you know, well over 1,000 pages. I have it at the house, and you guys can purchase it online still. He hasn't. No, he, like I said, he lived in the later 1800s, but he still has an organization that continues his work and publishes his books still and gives updated versions. And yeah, he dictated something bigger than our own Bible. And it's in no way perfect at all, and he even says it in there, but there's some more than intriguing information in there that ended up being scientific fact that we didn't know about in the 1880s. And one of them is him talking about and describing and drawing the Van Allen belts and the magnetic fields around our planet. And like I said, I've been talking about this for a long time. This is one of the most incredible regions. These are the temples around planetary spheres. These are where we get temples of light from, the temples of God, the tents of God. Tents, these shimmering sheets and waves of plasma of light that are temples are actually tents, magnetospheres that are around our planetary spheres. The temples that we have that are temples of light that have been made on Earth are just microcosms of the temples that we have around planets, right? Not only do these temples shield us, but also pull in light from the God, from sun, from the universe, right? So these are the temples of God. They are microcosms of larger temples around planetary systems that are made by God. The Garudas around planets are protecting planets with their shimmering wings of gold from the sun, right? These are magnetospheres. And I've been talking about this. I talk about this in my book. Has nothing to do with dogmatic beliefs. This is my translation of it. I'm not making a religion out of it. I'm showing I have scientific and mythological evidence to back up some of my visions and claims. So in no way am I saying believe what I'm saying. This is my theory, my brother. So and it's also backed up by scientific support and mythological support. In no way do I make it dogmatic and a religion of my own. So I don't agree with your statement right there. So I do feel that planetary systems have temples around them, right? Magnetospheres. And oh, it's all good, bro. Either way. Um, so we're literally at a point where our planetary sphere, the temple around our planet, is weakening. And we're at the point where I think we're going to go through a planetary renewal in a purification. And this happens with the light. And I think that the light comes in all forms. And it's talked about in all cultures. right? The sun can bring rebirth, it brings renewal, it brings codes of creation. And when we talk about codes, this is not just some fancy metaphysical term that I'm saying. A lot of people might be using it in that aspect and not even understanding what they're spewing out using word salads, right? All these names. But when I say codes from the sun, I literally mean you're sending charged particles, electrons charged with all sorts of information in it, like, right? And things that are coming from the sun, the information in it has to do with creating life, sustaining life, and also destroying life and rebirth and renewal of life, right? So you have the creation and the dissolution of life, if need be, that's being sent from planet, from the sun, right? And they come directly when solar storms come. They come directly from holes on the sun, directly from the caves on the sun. Right? That song actually rings true. That Soundgarden song, Black Hole Sun, won't you come wash away the pain, right? Or wash away the rain or pain. That's so true. It does wash over the planet like waters from the sun. And that's in all mythologies. And this is coming. We're about to get a worldwide global DMT event, and it's going to come in the form of plasma. That's the way. That's what the light coming in is technically called, right? And it's sentient, charged intelligence. These are the angelic hierarchies. We have all sorts of angelic beings that come in the physical form. We perceive them as comets. We perceive them as meteors. We perceive them as different forms of plasmoids and plasma. Some of the generals in the angelic army are suns and planetary spheres and systems, right? So there's all sorts of angelic beings, and the way we perceive them in this physical reality might be like that, but the intelligence behind it we can't even fathom. Yeah, the magnetic and electrical properties of the universe are just incredible. And there's bacterial genetics going on, quantum physics, all of this going on in a lot of the ancient writings that we totally misunderstand and mistranslate. We want everything to be about spaceships and human-like chimera beings landing in spaceships and all different, but life is way different than that. Yes, things need to push themselves into matter to form in this realm. Some of them, when they push themselves into matter, only form as a light or mist when visible in this spectrum. That's why they have in many of the ancient scriptures how God rides on the clouds. And I think a lot of scholars, of course, translate it as the clouds on earth, but they're not realizing that creation travels in plasma clouds. And God rides within those clouds. And they even appear when viewing them through telescopes as white, right? The white elephant of Indra. When Indra rides on the clouds, right? And we have this massive, like I said, I think it's 60 times wider than Earth, that opened up in early December of 2023. That's when I first became aware of it. I think it was like December 2nd or December 3rd of 2023, if I remember correctly, that this massive hole on the sun was either opened up or first noticed. And we have, well, it's raining right now over here too. And we have, I feel this grand solar event could even take place on March 21st or around March 21st of 2025. And it could, and it could come directly from this hole on the sun. And they talk about a very interesting term in even right in the Bible. And we'll go into it even with Gary today. I'll mention it with Gary. And it's I guess in Hebrew sort of pronounced Mayim Haim, Mayim Haim, spelled Mayyim, Chaym, Mayim Haim, Haim, something like that. Mayim Haim. That's probably how close to how they pronounce it, which roughly translates as living liquid, right? And this living liquid also is sort of translated as rising out from underneath the foundation stone in the Holy of Holies. I know it's mentioned in Ezekiel, and it's translated literally as regular waters that are rising out. But maybe we're mistranslating this. I mean, because you have a more actually a better example for how I'm translating it in a very not well known book, Joel in the Bible, but a more better known book, the book of Zechariah, also has this term of living liquid, right? That's going to arise or come over the planet. And I do think that this is the translation it's a higher dimensional light. It's a higher light, and it's going to wash over the planet and arise from the Holy of Holies. And the original Holy of Holies, the original ark, is the arc around our planet, the magnetosphere. And this is where the light has to pass through to enter into our planet. It has to rise. It has to emerge, these living waters, through the magnetosphere, through the tent, through the holiest of holies of Earth. And this is what I've been writing about in my book. And I do believe that the prophets were able to see this in all cultures. And they were very in tune with the sun, all of these prophets. Make no mistake, they were solar shepherds. See, the geese are going by right now. And in the darkness, I hear them. I'm like the only one out right now. These streets are silent. Who's with me in the chat room? Shout out to Jace Ventura 2. Ooh, I have a friend with the last name Ventura. Hope it's you. Yeah, I'm in upstate New York. I guess you could say it's upstate New York. It's about 30 miles from the George Washington Bridge. So it's a little upstate. It's the beginning of upstate New York, if you want to say. People in the city consider this upstate. But people that live here really just consider it the suburbs of New York City. Because we're right on the outskirts of New York City. So you can like literally drive 9 hours from here and still be in upstate New York. So we're just at the tips of going upstate. What's up, Johnny? Like you got New York City surrounding New York City, you got Westchester and Rockland, and then that's where I'm in those areas. What's up, Johnny? How's it going, brother? I'm about to go inside. I should start the podcast from my laptop because it's cold out here. We've been going for 30 minutes already here. But I found what's interesting though. Before we close, I'm going to get deeper into it. Is I found a passage in I think it might have been Talmudic writings where I have to go inside to get the writing, but they literally were talking about basically what I've been doing for years. How at midnight, like streams of information start coming in, and like I can't even tell you how I have this inner clock that a lot of times I'll fall asleep like right after dinner and I'll wake up right at midnight, like 11:59, boom, and then I'm up from like midnight. Sometimes I'll go back to sleep at like 5 or 6 a.m. for a couple hours, but there's a lot of times like I'll go to sleep at like 7, 8 o'clock at night sometimes in the winter when it's like when it's already been dark for since 4:30, because it gets dark at 4:30 over here in the winter, right? So like sometimes I'll go to sleep 7, 8 o'clock and then I wake up right at midnight, and then I literally start studying from midnight. I'll do meditations. I'll study certain scriptures of different cultures and the Bible and different things. I'll just start studying, and I'll do that for hours and hours a night. And I've been doing this for on and off for decades since I'm young. Literally since high school, I've been like this. No matter what I was studying, it could be even martial arts or whatever. I've just always been that way. And I'll get up like at midnight and I'll go running, or I'll just start spiritually working on things. And I'll do that till like about 6 a.m. And you guys can even see the proof in the way I do videos and stuff. Like I'll be doing them in the middle of the night, and then sometimes I'll go back to sleep like at 6 or 7 a.m. for a couple hours, like maybe like 5 a.m. 6, and then I'll wake up at like 8 or 9, and then I'll be up, you know. But I found a passage in. Hold on, I'll go look in the house and find it. It was in rabbinical. I think it was in the rabbinical writings, and the way they described it was so poetic as well. Let me get this for you guys. Oh, you guys are going to see special access to something now. I never mentioned it, but I actually grew up, his mom and dad and my aunt and uncle, with a pretty famous actor, Michael Imperioli. He was in Sopranos and everything. I don't ever bring it up really because I don't want to make it like a thing. But you guys can see, look, I got to see his big dumb face in our garage. When he did it, he had to write. And then like we have some other things for him. I don't really cherish them. I have them thrown here. Look, look at. Was his early mugshot. I mean, not mugshot. His early. Says to Ralph, wishing you the best. Love, Michael. I don't know why he gave this to us. Like, he's family. Like, I don't need your fucking portfolio thing. I think my dad wanted him. It's funny shit, right? No way. I'm way better looking. Hold on. Let me see where. Guys, want to see something cool? It's the podcast office. Well, I got all Italy. I got northern Italy, Sicilian, all different areas of Italy. I have even North African Moors. I have in my background. Like my mother's maiden name is literally Di Moro, which means of the Moors. Let me see where this. Trying to find, dude. I'm looking to find where I have it. You can literally see how many bookmarks I have in this freaking book. Look at this. I have so many different bookmarks in this book. Look at how many bookmarks are in here. So let me find it for a second. I think it had to do with the Talmud. Oh, the Midrash? I don't know. I can't find it right now. Give me a second. I'll look for it. Hold on. See, all this stuff has to do with the waters. Wow. This is crazy. Even here where Joshua stops the sun. Right there, you ever see that? This from Joshua 10. This is when Joshua stopped the sun. And then they returned to the camp of Gilgal Raphaim. That's the place of King Og. The sun stood still in the middle of heaven and has not to set about a whole day. And there was no day like that before it and after. I don't know where the friggin' thing. I have to go look for it. Where the other thing I was talked about, but my nose is freaking running because I gotta blow my nose because I was just walking in the cold for like 40 minutes. Excuse my snot rocket. Hope that was attractive. But yeah, tune into the Space Water podcast. I might even go live in a few minutes from now from my laptop. I was either gonna go back to sleep for a little while or go live. But you can see the snow. The snow melted mostly today, but we had big snow and cold for a couple of days. Yeah, right now we have since 2023 of December, like I said earlier, we have a massive hole on the sun. Massive. And We also have the the South Atlantic anomaly, which is a huge area where our magnetosphere is weak, and that place, I mean, and then now the poles have shifted to like go right above. Magnetic north is going like right above Russia. So these places will be the first places to get hit with a friggin' pounding of the solar storm. And it's interesting because a lot of prophecy has, Russia involved right in it at the end times with the light of the heavens uh, purifying Russia. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, and then you have in Revelation 9, you have where an angel will open up the key to the abyss, right? And I do think this happens to do with a solar lightning impact event. Some people could say a comet hitting, which could also open up an abyss, a crater, or an asteroid. It's possible. I actually think it's going to be a solar lightning. And if you would have talked to me maybe like 5 or 6 years ago, I probably would have said it was a meteor or asteroid or comet. But after all these years of work and research, things evolve, things change, and I don't, just because I wrote about something in the past or published something in the past that said one thing, don't mean I can't change um my my opinion, because as new evidence arises, as I witness more things myself, and the more work I do, things change. And I don't get, I'm one of those people will correct my work. I don't get, stuck in dogmas and stuff like that. Right. So I do now think it's going to be like a solar lightning impact crater event. That's the key to opening up abyss. That's the key to sparking life. I do believe that's how life was sparked on our planet. It was sort of like in this muddy petri disk, first deposited here by cometary bombardments, where you get all these different bacteria and stuff, and then the solar wind is bringing over particles from supernova explosions that have bacterias and proteins and calciums and all this stuff, right? All that stuff's entering in the planet and being seeded in a muddy pool. And then the lightning of God right from the sun, a fucking thunderbolt of Indra, a lightning, right? A solar impact event hit that muddy pool where it's like a petri dish getting the spark of light in it. And I do think that's why they have the stories of humans being molded out of clay, out of mud, because that's the poetic way of describing what transpired. I was shown this in a vision. If you want to, you can't take it as truth, but it's actually, I can back it up with certain religious and mythological writings and things like that talk about it. So I do think that's how life was sparked here, and that's how the abyss will be opened up as well, right? That's the key to the abyss, the finger bolt of God, the lightning bolt of God. And in archangel hierarchy, they talked of Baraquiel. Baraquiel basically means the lightning of God, and he's mentioned in the Manichaean Book of Giants. He's mentioned in the Book of Enoch. He's mentioned in the Aramaic Book of Giants, and supposedly he's the one who taught the knowledge of the stars, right? And he would be if if he is the lightning of God, right? He's the one who taught astrology to humans. And these are not people, right? These are higher intelligences of light that can absorb and veil themselves into and as humans. Yeah. Well, this was even Moses. We're going to talk about this today with Gary. Moses, he was supposedly hidden in an ark, right? And hid on the Nile River, and found, right, and raised. But I do think it's possible that we are translating this wrong, and that his DNA was from the waters and from the ark around our planet. We have the magnetosphere, and I do think there's a possibility that we are translating a lot of these writings wrong. Yeah. It all has to do with sound, the sound of the light, frequencies, sounds, certain words that are words of power, and the way they are said, the sound that they are said, and the frequency that they are said at. There's certain frequencies that are frequencies that can literally call down fire from the sky. This is why it's veiled as a human being speaking in the Bible, but like when they talk about in the Bible, Elijah rained down fire from the sky with just one word, right? And he was able to light the altar of Yahweh on fire. He was able to incinerate tribes of Canaanites on the battlefield with just a word. He was able to bring fertility to the fields and rain from the sun, from the fire of God. What's up, Rob? You can't sleep? Eat some freaking prosciutto and melon, motherfucker. Smoke some purple penny dropper and eat some fucking prosciutto and melon. That's what you gotta do if you can't sleep. Just don't eat cheese doodles and then jerk off, because then you got cheese dick. Prosciutto with melon, bro. Yeah, no, I just, dude, I know what I eat. I don't eat prosciutto and melon that much. I usually eat, if I go to a restaurant, sometimes I'll get that as an appetizer. I'll tell them, give me some prosciutto and some freaking melon while my order's getting ready. God damn it. But no, usually I eat like with my salad, I'll have um red grapefruit and bacon. Right? Like I'll have my wife make some bacon, and we get like the organic spring mix salad, and then mix it with organic kale, and then mix it with the organic sweet mix salad, and then I put some like organic croutons in there, some peppers, some onions, and then I get red grapefruit and bacon. I eat this like a couple of times a week, bro. And I wrap the bacon around the red grapefruit, and I eat that shit together. I like the combination of the grapefruit and the bacon. I like those flavors combined. I've always been like, like I'm very hypersensitive to things, especially sounds. Like I can't even take the dentist drills and sounds. It freaks me out, bro. I mean, certain sounds, like I'll tell you how hypersensitive I am. Even as a kid, if I walk on snow, the crunch of the snow goes right to my soul, bro. So I can't touch velvet. Velvet like freaking cringes. My whole body recoils when I touch velvet. I have very hypersensitivity to touch and to sounds of things. But when it comes to taste, I'm like super hypersensitive. I like extremes. Like I like combination of tastes. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people that are sensitives are hypersensitive to certain things, like certain vibrations and hypersensitivities and stuff. I've always been that way. I always thought it was because I was born in Nepal, and I was born with the umbilical cord around my neck, and I had certain things that happened that made me very hypersensitive to certain things. So, yeah, certain materials really make me cringe. And certain things like that. Yeah, I don't like it. See the church bells? Church bells are going off right now. Yeah, smells don't get me as bad as sound and touch. Touch and sound affect me more than smells. What's up, Corina Layton? Shout out to Rob from Typical Skeptic Podcast. Shout out to Karina Layton. Shout out to V. Yo, whoever saw that show V back when I was a kid, that show was a little bit scary for me as a kid, but it was also like some sci-fi goodness. The dude from Beastmaster was in it. I don't know. You guys are probably too young. I don't know if you guys are old enough. A lot of you guys probably aren't old enough for that. This was like in the early 80s. I'm talking like 83, 84. Shout out to Peaceful Penguin, Vincent Hartman. Vincent Hartman. Who else is out there? Johnny, my buddy Johnny. Who else is YOLO X? Jace Ventura 2. And then we got Charlotte Knight, my friend Charlotte. And then who else we got? We got Cole, Studio Ocklart. Who else should I give a shout out to? Diddy Boxing. Shout out to Diddy Boxing. Shout out to Zubair John. Shout out to Ka Clayton too. And Studio Ocklart, I said that already. And Slade Craft wins. No, am I saying that right? Slade Craft wins? Yeah. I don't know if you guys are all still with me, but I'll give you guys a shout out real quick. Figure I do that. This has been a lot longer than I anticipated because I'm walking in the cold but we've been going 53 minutes already. I'll keep it going for a little bit. Yeah, reptilians are among us. Did you guys ever hear the story about me in Arizona? I don't talk about the story too much because I have to mention drugs in the story, so it throws credibility out. And you know what's funny is that author Nick Redfern, I had his home number. I still have it. I don't know if it's the same. It was from Texas at the time. This was way before I even had a radio show. I'm talking about like 2010, somewhere around there. I was in, because I had already been in the community already, but I hadn't had my own radio show or nothing yet. Just people knew of me because of my family history and because of certain things that I went through that I've discussed before, and people knew about me. And, you know, I've been in the esoteric industry and metaphysical industry for a while, if you want to call it that field, I mean. So he found out about certain things that I've been through. And we first were in correspondence through email, and then he gave me his house number. We started talking. The minute, because he was going to include me in his book with some experiences that I've had. The minute I told him that drugs were a part of the story, he immediately stopped calling me. And then I tried to call him back like twice, and then he didn't respond. So I was like, oh, this guy thought it was just a hallucination from drugs. But the reason why I had to bring it up, because it was part of the story. Now, when I was in Phoenix, Arizona, I went there on September 8th, 2001. 3 days before the World Trade Center happened in New York, I left New York. I literally left New York, and I'm not sure if one of the planes were taken from JFK, but I literally left from, I think, one of the places that one of the planes were taken from. The funny thing is Johnny Knoxville was standing on line next to me going somewhere. I don't know if he wasn't on the same plane, but he was right next to me. I met him in the airport. My brother was there, my girlfriend at the time, and my parents. So I went, but I left on the plane by myself. I was going out to Arizona to work for a company that my family knew. Like I was going out there just for a change too, because life got a little hectic over here, right? So on September 8th, 2001, I went to Arizona to live there for a few months to work. And after about 2 or 3 days of me already being out there, I was like, oh, this sucks. The living situation I had sucked. So I was already looking for a way out, right? So after like a couple of weeks of me working there, I met this girl, Candace, and I moved in with her family and her, right? Like she was my girlfriend or whatever. And her family was crazy, dude. So her stepdad, I'm not gonna throw their names into it. I'll leave it just at Candace. Her stepdad, uh, her mom and her sister lived there. Now her stepdad and her mom were into crystal meth, and at the time I didn't even know the girls were doing it too. At first, I found out pretty quick. But the father, him and his friend, the stepfather, him and his friends were making crystal meth, right? So I learned after a couple of months of being there that there's something about the that happens to maybe the chemistry of people's brains or something, but reptilian, other dimensional beings, I mean beings that don't normally show in this spectrum of light, but they can appear in this spectrum of light for short periods of time and be just as real as you and me. But there's ways of them like being above ground and then being below ground and being invisible very quickly, right? So I found out that there's nests of these type of entities, and they get attracted to something that has to do with crystal meth. I don't know if it's the frequency of somebody's brain or the chemistry that happens when but especially when someone's manufacturing it and there's high levels of it going on. Because this house, this family, they literally had a nest of entities that were coming in from underneath the home. And it was connected through a network that goes throughout Arizona and throughout probably the whole world. I don't know. I think it's just a network on the planet. But I know it was directly related because I'm a telepath. If you want to, I don't know how you put labels on things, but I get impressions from things, right? I get psychic impressions, if you want to call them, and I get visions of things sometimes, and little flashes and impressions of things, and things I witnessed there. I can't even talk about some of the things, and some of the things I've seen were incredible and were reptilian of nature. Like one time, so this guy, the stepfather, I'm not going to say his name, but he was like 6'3", 6'4". He's dead now. Well, his first name was Larry. It doesn't matter anyway. But Larry, he was a really tall white guy, right? And when I knew him, he was in his like later 50s maybe. And you know, I'm like in my early 20s at the time, right? So this guy was like a little scary, but I wasn't like scared of him physically, but like I had to always be on guard. Like I was scared that he could just like freak out at any moment. So one time, like he used to always like scream at himself and like fucking have like wars with himself, like yelling at himself, right? So I just thought he was just, you know, on drugs and crazy, right? So one day I heard him really like going at it, but like there was another voice in there that was like a growl that was like not human. It was just like a weird hulking like presence, right? So I built up enough courage to like go peek, because I was like literally in the room next to him, and I was dating his stepdaughter, and she was working as a telemarketer at the time, and I was working, but I wasn't at work at the moment, so I was home there by myself waiting for her to come home. And this guy was freaking out in his room. It was just me and him in the house, so I was like really scared. So I literally had like a knife behind my back just in case he like fucking came at me, because that's how much I didn't trust him. So I like walked up to the door to peek in, and because his door was like just a little crack open, so I was gonna open up the crack a little bit and peek in to see what was going on in there. You know, and I literally had a knife behind my back. It's so crazy. So when I peeked in, he was standing in, you know, one of those long length mirrors where you can look at your whole body in the mirror. He had one of those mirrors tilted up against the wall, and he was standing looking into it, and he was screaming at himself in the mirror, but the reflection that I saw in the mirror was this hulking reptilian type being that was like over 6, like this guy was 6'4", so this thing was big and tall like that, and it was hulking, and it looked more like a fucking gorilla though. It had like a gorilla snout on it, it looked like more of like a gorilla face kind of, but it was more dinosaur like, not feathery, but like more like snaky, like he had the visage of a viper, almost like they say in the Bible, right? Or in the Enoch. Like it was like snake like, but more like gorilla feet, like gorilla shaped, but like snake looking, right? And he was hulking, like like breathing heavy, screaming at himself. And I just caught a quick glimpse at it, and I freaked out and, like, you know, went back to the room and shit. But that's just one thing that I can talk about. Like, I know that we followed, at one point we were following where we felt like these things were traveling, and there was like a certain area that we traveled to. I've talked about it before. And the one area that we also, and this was where she lived at the time, was on 15th and McDowell. Now, in Phoenix, the way it works is there's two 15ths in McDowell. There's 15th Avenue and there's 15th Street in McDowell, and I totally forget which one it was. I don't know on which side of McDowell it was now because it's been so long. I forget whether it was the avenue or the street. But it was in the more ghetto part of town, so whichever one that is. But there's a nest there, and there also was a nest in an area where there were a lot of ghetto and drugs involved in another area, which is in Cocopah, the area of Cocopah, that street. So that's one of the places where I actually had an experience where I saw one of those beings. They were above the ground, and then all of a sudden they were below the ground very quickly, like in the street. Like they went from sewer, like, to above the ground to the sewer underneath us really quick. So, and there's no way something that size can go in the drain. So there was some way that it could just like be in and out of the spectrum of light. And I think from just my intuition and just from the experiences of it, I felt like that something happens to certain people that do crystal meth or manufacture crystal meth. There's a certain frequency that the brain emits that draws these beings in sexually. Like it's more like a sexual drive. It does something to the chemistry of the brain, where people can see these things, and it's a lot lower frequency, you know. It's scary, totally scary. And I used to see people just see, I never came across crystal meth in New York out here. When I went to, California and in Arizona, then it was everywhere. But I never really came across it in New York here. I mean, there's a lot of cocaine and heroin and acid and all that shit going on, but I never saw. I mean, I think some of the bikers used to have it, but it's not really that popular here like that. But I used to go to like clubs in New York City, like the Limelight, and different clubs like Roxy, Twilo, Palladium, all those clubs. And sometimes I would see people's brain like face more their face like morph, like when you would walk by them. But that's always attributed to like be acid and things like that. So I always like would be like, oh, that's not, I'm just seeing that because of the crazy lights in the club and because I took acid or something like that. But I mean, it happened whether I was high or not. But you can always attribute it to like, did I really see it? But with these things, there was no mistaking that they were some kind of other dimensional or some sort of being that can appear in this spectrum of light and then not be there, like a dream. So well, the morning star, I mean, that also is related to literally a star, I think, too. So a lot of people attribute it to Venus because in the morning is when Venus appears really bright. They have the evening star and the morning star in the Bible. I gotta go inside though. It's freaking freezing. It's starting to get like windy right now. It's cutting through me. I've been out here for like an hour. I'm probably gonna get sick now. Watch this shit. No, I'm not gonna manifest that. But yeah, 1 o'clock today. I'm probably gonna do a show in a few minutes when I get inside. But I might not. I might just get some rest. But I might do a show. You guys might see I'm live. Yeah, you're like, so the other street was 7th and Cocopah, where those were the two areas where I know for sure that I witnessed something. Like the one in 7th and Cocopah, I saw the being go from above ground to below ground very quick. I didn't see him actually be below ground, but I heard it. Like I heard it in the sewer. So it was moving through the sewer systems or below there somewhere. I don't know how it got there though, because it was above ground. Unless there was two different ones, and the one just disappeared. I don't know, but they were like moving through the sewers. And then, there's been other reports. I don't know if the lady is telling the truth or not, but is it Oscar De La Hoya's ex-wife? One of the boxers, either Oscar De La Hoya or the one that Dana White always has a problem with. Is it Oscar De La Hoya? One of his ex-wives had an experience, but everybody said that she was like a con woman too, that she always tries to date celebrities for money. So like, I don't know if she could be trusted, but she had a similar story to something that I meant. It was either her or someone else had a very similar story to something that I witnessed myself. Yeah, we should. This is a good time slot for getting lives, because you want to do lives where a lot of other shows aren't live. So you get more people coming in that wouldn't necessarily see your channel on a regular basis. Yeah, we should do a morning show. I got a lot of good guests that could come on too. We could just do a show with just me and you as guests just me and you bullshitting and reviewing things. And then when we want, we could pull guests on and stuff like that. But we could just do shows, just me and you, just bullshitting about stuff, just stating our opinion about things. Because with your show, you have a lot of guests on where they're presenting their work, so you can't really voice your opinion because you got to stay kind of neutral because you're having all these guests on. So because that's sort of the way the show turns out. And in my show, I kind of do the same thing. Like I'll voice my opinion and stuff like that. But if I have a guest on, I let the guest present their work and stuff, and I add what I can. But we should have a show where we really talk about like our opinions, That's what's missing out on a lot of days. Even if you would have saw the beginning of this show, this stream that I did, it's a perfect example. People nowadays, for some reason, the minute you question what they say, even if you're not upset about it, but all you do is just question it. Like you just give a little hint that you might not agree with what they're saying. And immediately people automatically interpret it as you're challenging them, you're trying to start an argument with them, you're mad at them, you want to argue with them, that you don't like them, that you're being rude to them, that like immediately, like people don't, I don't know what it is, but people nowadays, they don't like to face adversity at all. And I'm attributing it to the fact that everything is instant gratification. Nowadays, we're used to getting everything at the push of the button with no contesting. There's no working hard for anything nowadays. It's like very quick. People get certificates to be master Reiki healers in 3 months. Right? It took me friggin' 20 years to get a certificate. So it's just, I don't understand. The same thing with like a black belt. If it takes you less than 10 years, you're most likely not, you're getting gifted some of those belts. People don't realize you get forged in adversity. You become smart through adversity. You become wise through adversity. Getting things and everybody just being your cheerleader and agreeing with what you say ain't gonna get you nowhere. Gonna get you where Billy Carson is. You might be able to make some money, but the minute you face adversity, your true colors will show up because you're not used to dealing with it. Right? And if I question something somebody says, it doesn't mean I'm mad at you. If I don't agree with something you say and I state that something opposite than what you said, doesn't mean I'm mad at you. It doesn't mean I'm upset. It means that I'm stating how I feel. And I'm stating what my opinion is. Just because it might be opposite than yours, it doesn't mean that I'm challenging you in any way. If you're interpreting it that way, then I don't like. Then we gotta try to dissect why you're interpreting it that way. Maybe it was my tone. Maybe it was this. Maybe it was that. But most people nowadays they don't like any type of adversity. They just want you to listen to what they're saying and agree with it and be their cheerleader. And the minute you don't agree with it, they're like, "Oh, this guy doesn't like me. He's arguing with me," and that's bullshit. Because I'm a very opinionated person. I am not someone that's just going to agree with something because you said it. It's got to make some sense to me. Right? It's got to, I'm going to think about it and chew on it for a little bit. And then, but it's unfortunate nowadays because like, I feel like most men and women, like real good quality people, they get forged through adversity. Through facing challenges. And when people don't like to face challenges, it's like they don't want to really learn. They want to be just gifted everything. And that's the problem with a lot of the podcasts and a lot of the people out there today, is because they read information online or something like that, and then they feel like they can talk about it and be like knowledgeable, when really it's not just about information, it's about the life experience that goes behind that information. Yeah, healthy debating is good because like there's a way to do things where you're rude, and of course that's not healthy because people just shut down if you're being rude about it. But a healthy debate is how you actually come to the truth, because you got hopefully the people that are participating in the debate have enough information between all of them and points to add collectively where you can see like, oh man, this makes sense now, or this doesn't make sense, and this is why. Like, and when you have enough people in a debate that come to similar conclusions, and they came from it from different angles on their own, that's called evidence, and that's how you find the truth. Right? That's exactly why I have someone like Gary on, because me and Gary, we sort of come to things from different angles, but somehow we more often than not, we find similar ground in things, or a similar vibe. And I blame it on the culture of you know the internet culture of being everything at the push of a button, just by a click. Everything's click, 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 click. Everybody's used to getting things very fast. And when they're told, or they realize they're going to have to spend a significant amount of time before they achieve with what they want, they really don't like. They like the idea of the benefits that come along with the knowledge, but they don't want to do the work that goes through it. And to me, that work is the fun part, right? Being forged in that fire is the fun part, right? All that research and work that I've done over all these years, so I can have the conversations that I do have, that was the fun part for me, going through the war, right? Like when I first read The Secret Doctrines by Madame Blavatsky. Now, I'm not saying it's all true or not, but whoever reads it, it's got to say the woman who wrote it was very learned. She took a lot of time researching and experiencing different cultures of mysticism, right, throughout the world. And all of the little terminologies that she used and phrases, it's impossible for someone that doesn't have a background in mythologies and religions and mysticism to understand the little nuances of all the things that she writes about in there. It's impossible. You have to have decades of knowledge in esoteric writings, religions, science, and all of that to understand the little phrases that she uses, the little nuances that she uses, and all of that, right? So when I first read them in high school, when I first got experience to the Secret Doctrine books. There's 2 books, right? And she also has the Veil of Isis as well. But those are 2 books as well, Science and Religion. But when I first read them, I wanted so bad to one day be able to read those books without having to go looking up all these different phrases that she mentions, and different esoteric writings that she mentioned, quotes of different writings, all the little things that she had. I wanted to be able just to read through it and completely understand the lingo that was in it, this esoteric vernacular that comes with years of research. Well, fast forward now to I'm turning 47 years old. I can now read through the Secret Doctrines and understand all the little references that she makes, the little phrases that she makes. It's taken me all those years. It is a language, right? And it's taken me all those years to get the nuances of it, and I'm pretty much there now, where I can sit through it and understand what she's talking about. I thought I was kind of trying to understand it 20, 30 years ago, but no way, I didn't understand it. Now when I read it, I understand it on a new level, and I suppose in 20 years from now I'll read it again and I'll understand it on another level. Very interesting. See, it's sync, Karina. We're here right now at exactly this time for a reason. Now, the ego is unfortunately usually the last to get humbled and smashed, but that's the biggest blocker from us being able to feel who we are and feel energy. Yeah, I'm a 1978 baby, so I'll be 47 this year. Oh, see, you're 53. That's good. I'm glad a lot of people are older. Well, that's not old, but because then you understand what I'm. A lot of people, they'll understand what I'm talking about. A lot of the references I make, because I come from the older generation. Like, yeah, I'm born in 1978, but my brother and sister are born in 1966 and 1968. I came 10 years later than my sister. So my brother and sister are born in the 60s, and I was born in the 70s. So and I was the last baby my mother had, so I'm the youngest. So I kind of grew up with the older generations. What's up, Lucy? What's up, Angel? Wow, you got Lucy, that means light, and Angel. You got Angel Light right in there. Angel Light. Angel Lucy. That would be a cool name for somebody. Angel Lucy. Yo, yo. There's an interesting spot that has to do with ancient Hebrew that is in near North Syria. It's called Duras Europus. One of the spots that we're going to be talking. I'm going to ask Gary about in the interview today. But I'm going to go inside in a minute because I'm freezing out here. I've been walking for like almost an hour already. Oh, way over an hour. Hour and 20 minutes. See that? Freezing my ass off for you guys in this stream. But you guys can support me at the PayPal link on my website if you guys want to donate. And you can, right now I'm demonetized on YouTube, but maybe in March it'll come back. But you guys can support me right at my PayPal if you guys want to donate to my podcast or donate to my work. It's you can find the link at themysticalspiral.com, right on the About Me page. I'm sure it's on there. Yeah, I need a cup of tea for sure. I originally was just going to go for a quick walk around the block. We got 13 people in the chat room and 13 likes. I won you guys over, huh? Well, I gotta say, I do feel, and unfortunately in the past, I don't like to be right about certain things like this. Like, I was right about the plagues that hit our planet. I was telling everybody in 2018 that I was getting visions of people wearing masks and fighting over food and new diseases being on the planet, right? I was telling people all before the year that it happened. And I was doing videos here on it. You guys can go look. I was saying I was getting visions of seeing a green comet and then people wearing masks and fighting over food and all this shit, standing on lines for food. And then that came into fruition. Well, I'm also seeing a big solar event happening, but it's also going to be like a global DMT type event for people, where certain people are going to get like it's going to wash over them like a higher river of light, and other people will be getting annihilated in this light. Like, the light will make them sick. So that's scary. That is a scary thing to think of, unfortunately, but it's going to wash over the planet, and it's going to have to do with what's in the collective consciousness and vibration of people. We can make this shimmering sheet of light be a garment of light that wraps around humanity. We can make this a garment of love, a garment of higher dimensional global DMT that wraps around the sludge and turns it into light. We can change it all. Will we? Most likely not. Most likely not. You see what humanity does. But there will be a living liquid that comes from the Holy of Holies. And I do believe it's being mistranslated. It has nothing to do with waters on earth. It's the waters of the cosmos. It's the divine river of light. that's going to be like a global DMT event. And the living liquid is talked about. It's talked about in the Bible. It's talked about in Vedic writings, the solar waters, the sentient solar waters, right? How it connects to the spinal current of humanity, right? And in Hebrew, I mentioned they talk about the Ma'im Hayim, Ma'im Hayim. I think it's spelled Maymchayim, Ma'im Hayim, which basically translate as sentient plasma, as living liquid, as space water, right? The living liquid that will rush up all around us, all around Earth and into Earth. You guys see the sunrise coming behind me? It's coming soon. The twilight of morning, the twilight of dawn. And we are the bringers of the dawn. My name is Castaldo, and spiral out.